Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again, and welcome to The Roads with Belle. Today is November 17th, 2024, and this is episode 65 of The Roads Not Taken, which is a weekly series where we go over the news that was unreported, underreported, didn't get the coverage we felt that it should, or we just found it interesting. And then we go over some questions from y'all. Today is November 17th, and today is Take a Hike Day. It's National Hiking Day. And on this date in 1969, the Strategic Arms Limitations Talks, known as the SALT Talks, began in Helsinki between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. And starting with foreign policy, a think tank in Russia is suggesting the economy there is headed toward stagflation. That's a unique combination of things: slow economic growth, high unemployment, and high inflation. Once stagflation sets in, economic policymakers tend to have a very hard time getting out of it. China wants to build a megaport in Peru and is expanding its global trade and economic power. The United States looks like it will start trending more and more toward isolationism and receding power. In semi-related news, a growing consensus says that China will retaliate if Trump imposes his promised tariffs. Putin and the German Chancellor had a phone call that Zelensky has warned is opening Pandora's box. Biden is meeting with China's leader in hopes of emergency-proofing the relationship between the two powers during Trump's term. In U.S. news, Trump's cabinet picks are drawing increasing scrutiny and intense opposition, even from some Republicans. The daughters of Malcolm X are suing the FBI, CIA, and NYPD over the death of the civil rights leader. It's a $100 million suit and makes a lot of sweeping allegations about the role of government agencies and a potential cover-up. So, why isn't this in oddities? Because the suit isn't being brought by low-end attorneys out to make a buck in a headline. The attorney fielding the questions is Ben Crump. Get ready. Rudy Giuliani is starting the process of turning over assets to the election workers he was found to have defamed in the aftermath of 2020. The classic Mercedes and some watches have reportedly been transferred. Biden's infrastructure law is celebrating its third anniversary, and articles are pouring out about how the law helped various states and agencies while creating jobs. I'll probably try to do a video on this soon. In cultural news, Mike Tyson lost his fight with Jake Paul by unanimous decision. In science news, the world's largest coral was found near the Solomon Islands. It's so big it can be seen from space. U.S. and Russia space agencies are arguing over whether or not leaks in the Russian segment of the International Space Station are a big deal. The U.S. says it is. Russia says it isn't. In oddities, there were reportedly more than 1,500 coal, oil, and gas lobbyists at COP29. Odd. It seems like they really shouldn't be there. The Arecibo message turned 50 this week. That was humanity's first radio signal sent into space in an attempt to contact aliens. There's been a discussion about how women weren't represented in the image representation. Most connected to the project are saying that was simply because the graphics weren't good enough. Also in oddities, where's Vance? On to the Q&A. I find myself listening to The Roads Not Taken, Research Road, and the Interstates. But I'm not really sure why. It's basically a headline news show from the 90s. I enjoy them, but I feel like you should go in depth on each issue. They're actually meant to be jumping off points for further exploration on things that interest you. And then again, things like from interstates are state level news so far, but they're going to become national news. And so it gives you a little heads up before you see it. Research Road is definitely so cool for other reasons, but the same idea. It's interesting facts that you can also look into and use to find more information. If we were to go in depth on all of these, I mean, this episode alone, this would take me 45 minutes to an hour. And a lot of people don't have that kind of time. So when we do have content that we do want to explore longer, it's usually on the main channel. But I'm glad that you enjoy them. Are any of Trump's policies good? Can you name one? I like the 10% cap on credit cards, in theory, but it's still going to have to be worked on, and he's going to have to get an actual economist to work with him on that. And I'm not sure on all of the details. I mean, there would have to be safeguards in place to make sure that people could still qualify for credit and that the companies couldn't just cut them off. But I do like the idea of a cap on interest rates for credit. Do you think we'll see a third impeachment of America's worst hire? Think the Jack Smith report will have any impact on concepts of a third impeachment? I like to believe that people learn their lessons, but realistically, if Dems were to gain control of the House and Trump acts the way he's expected to, I would anticipate an impeachment. Will Jack Smith's report contribute to that? I don't know. Given that Trump will be taking office in 2025 and all institutional protections at this point have failed, it seems likely Trump will dismantle anything remaining if he can, even if his actions require other branches of government to sign off. He's already got cronies in place everywhere, so I don't see that as a particular barrier. Is there anything left that can actually stop Trump and his movement and this movement he has created? There are still some institutional protections, but I think the biggest thing to remember is that every single person in Congress and the Senate, they desire one thing, and that is re-election. Trumpism is going to be around for a while, but Trump himself is losing steam. And I think that you may see a lot of people push back or distance themselves from him for re-election purposes. They want to stay in office. So, all right. We've gotten a lot of questions about community building. They'll be turned into videos either here or on the main channel. Mostly, longer videos. And so that looks like it. A little more information and a little more context, and having the right information will make all the difference. Y'all have a good day.